A very good evening. On behalf of India FinTech Forum, I am Vishal Bagadia, and today we have with us Mr. Sachindranath, Executive Chairman and Managing Director of Ugro Capital. Mr. Sachindranath is a distinguished corporate leader. In his rich experience spanning 3 decades, he has been influential in building diversified financial services, including insurance, asset management, lending, and capital market. Hello, sir. Welcome to our FinTech Leadership Series.
Thank you, Vishal, for inviting me to such a prestigious platform.
Thank you, sir. First of all, talking about your company, Ugro Capital Limited, which is a BSC listed company, which provides small businesses a lend capital needs, and it is a small business lending fintech platform, which provide loan in select 8 sectors by providing customized loan solutions. So, first of all, I would like to know on how Ugro Capital uses its innovative programs, its expertise, and digitalization to solve the unsolved credit gap.
Thanks, Vishal. I think so. As you know, that India's economic engine is driven by MSMEs in India. Almost more than 30% of our GDP is powered by MSME. But it historically, this is a sector which has been completely credit starved. We have the credit gap for MSMEs in India is roughly around $600 billion, because majority of the capital when it comes to the mid corporate and large corporate gets served well by the banks and the large financial institutions. But MSMEs generally, because they have been part of the informal segment, the capital need of that have been really unserved. Yeah, so that's why we call it's a problem which remain unsolved for a very long period of time. While the financing to MSME has been done by almost every financial institution, but our aspiration was to build an institution which is dedicated to the need of MSME. Now the question came in our mind before we started is that what is in it that for which such a large credit gap has existed. Now, unlike large corporate, MSME is a very non-homogeneous sector. India's MSME operate out of 160 sectors, thousands of subsectors. The way to think about is that two different small businesses or two small businesses in a same sector are not unique. So think of hospitality as a sector. Within the hospitality, from an outside, you'll think hospitality is hospitality and all customers or all businesses are same. But actually, that is not true. A banquet hall in hospitality versus a fast food chain are two very different businesses. Their cash flow is different, their need is different, the number of people they employ is different. Actually, in pandemic, we realized that you cannot treat both banquet hall and a fast food chain on the same parameter. And that is precisely the problem, because lending institutions, because they do big format lending, for them to customize themselves to understand real underlying business and customize the credit solution has been always a challenge. Now, this problem people have been trying to solve from very different ways. Our view was that this problem can be solved by deep specialization in technology and data analytics. The reason why we said that we would focus on select 8 sectors and micro MSME we treat as a sector itself, because that gives you an ability to deeply understand each of the sector and subsector and then design tech platform or underwriting platform which serve the need of that. So for example, in hospitality, we do 7 sectors. In education, we do 2. In healthcare, we do 9 kind of, automation which we have brought. So having designed this thinking, we said, what is the best way to, attack this problem? Obviously, lending is a capital business. My thinking was that these businesses or these problem solving happened over a decade period of time, and you need a very sustainable large capital. So we started this in a listed company format so that we can build this business for perpetuity. We raised roughly around 1,000 crore of capital. We took our 1 year of time. So right from July of 2018 till April of 2019, we set up what we call a large distribution, technology, and liability engine. Today, we serve the need of MSME from 4 different channels. What first we call the branch-led channel. So we are expanding our physical footprint. We are today 34 odd locations. We will go to almost 75 locations by end of this year. And there we serve the need of both prime and micro customer within our sectors and subsectors. So Ugro is probably one of those unique company which has ability to lend even at 8% and also at 22%. So you can service the need of the prime most customer to the most micro customer. Second, we look at what we call ecosystems, because majority of the India's lending to MSME is collateral driven, because you don't understand the customer, so you ask for a collateral. Versus the need to be serviced through what we call cash flow analysis. So we under our ecosystem, we finance machinery and equipment, and we also do supply chain financing. Third is we believe that our cost of capital advantage and the large scale size can benefit lot many other players who are in the same segment. These players can be a small fintech or a large fintech, small NBFCs, payment platform, neo banks, market aggregators, and we created a partnership and alliance channel wherein we provide capital for them to go and lend to the end customer. And fourth is our digital channel, which is a touchless, seamless, non-physical channel. So that's how the asset engine. On the liability side, we believe that the time has come wherein there has to be a collaborative approach between the large banks and niche NBFCs like ours. And that's why our liability engine is divided in three parts. We borrow on our balance sheet. Today, we have more than 40 plus lending institutions who lend to us. We also have an approach of partnership with banks, wherein, large public sector bank like Bank of Baroda and SBI are our co-lending partner. And also we reshuffle our assets. When we lend, over a period of time, we sell that asset to the banks and large financial institutions. So we are on that journey. Our objective is to take 1% market share in the next 5 years, serve more than 10 lakh MSME customers in India, and build an asset book of 20 to 25,000 crore in the next 5 years. So that's why we're creating this dedicated institution to solve. And one of the things which we have done uniquely, which is technology and data analytics, we believe that India's MSME financing in next 3 to 4 years would reach to the level of maturity where consumer financing is. So there is an India Stack 2, which is getting developed, which is a triangulation of GST, banking, and bureau. And if a lender which has an ability to understand the underlying customer through the lens of data from these three data points, your ability to give on-tap financing is coming to fruition. And that's the way we are designing it.
Okay, so coming to the current state of MSME sector, we have seen that the second wave have hit severely to the country, and which has impacted a lot to the MSME businesses. So what do you think, or could you please elaborate more on the current state of the MSME sector, and how will it pan out in the future?
So, most of the MSME are deeply affected, and there is no doubt about it. Reason for this is, think of this way: if there is a small business which earn gross revenue of 10 lakh rupees a month, and which is 1.2 crore revenue in a year, and have a 10% margin, which means that in a year it makes 10 lakh rupees, in which it has to service the debt, it has to take care of all cost of employees, raw material, everything. A 3-month shutdown means that his earning potential for whole year is gone for a toss, right? So that is the severeness of that. But you should remember one thing, that small businesses are run by entrepreneurs. And entrepreneurs, because that's their bread and butter, and they do it for themselves and their ecosystem. So the power or the resilience which an entrepreneur have is very, very strong. And most of these small businesses and their ability of what we call V-shaped recovery is far superior than the large corporate, because they work harder to readjust to the hard reality and start doing business again. And we are seeing that, we saw that happening after the first wave of pandemic. We are seeing that in the second wave of pandemic. And hopefully, we don't have so severe pandemic as it has happened in the second wave. We will continue to see the revival. Obviously, there are certain select subsectors of sectors which have got so deeply impacted that, those small businesses have to retune or readjust, right? As I said, that there are certain sectors who have fundamentally got disrupted for a long period of time, right? So, think of businesses which were completely dependent on physical outreach, when people used to gather, so that obviously is affected. But I believe that, the economy is coming back, and so as SME, and you will see a faster recovery for SME than any other sectors of the markets.
So, although we know about the resilience of MSME sector, but still the traditional banks are a little conservative when it comes to lending to the MSME sectors. So, I would like to know about the effectiveness of Ugro's Capital digitally enabled multi-pronged distribution channel on how they try to distribute loans to these small sectors.
Yeah, that's a very good question, Vishal. So when the pandemic, first round of pandemic hit, and immediately, I think in the month of August, we launched a program called Sanjeevani. We took inspiration from the epic of Ramayana, saying that when everything was in such a dire state, there was a medicine which you can apply, and somebody who was near dead, you can revive. And that's why we will launch a credit program called Sanjeevani. And in the mid of pandemic, we started lending. So from August till March of 2021, we lent roughly around 700 crore under our Sanjeevani program. Why we were able to do that? I think so. It was this unique approach of understanding our sectors, unique approach of looking at the 2-3 set of their data points. So what we did is that we created what we call a mortality index. Our mortality index was designed or look at every sector, every subsector, and create an index saying which subsector of the business would actually die down or which will have the power to bounce back. And then we created a weightage that how much time they would take to bounce back. Then we looked at our data analytics team build out this platform where it say we will pull 2 sets of data, GST and banking. And our GST and banking data was pulled for what we call pre-pandemic and post-pandemic. And system analyzed that if pre-pandemic your GST turnover was say 1 crore and it got dipped dramatically, but once the pandemic is getting over, at what rate your turnover is increasing and whether your cash flow in the banking is reflective of that. And then whatever residual cash flow was coming, we multiplied by that our mortality rate and made a quick prediction, or system made a quick prediction that in how much time this business would come back to normalcy. And basis that we created an eligibility for a customer and started lending again. This was a very unique approach of combining the human mind, combining the power of data and technology, and being able to do what a human mind can do for a business. And basis that we started and created this program. Today also in almost 50 to 75 odd crore per month, we are lending under our Sanjeevani program.
So as you have mentioned about this program, and you have also talked about how MSME will grow in the near future. So what are your next expansion and growth plans for Ugro Capital in the next 2-3 years? What are the steps that you will be taking in the future?
As I said, that we are very clear that by 2025 we would like to serve 1% of outstanding credit of MSME in India. Today, MSME credit is standing roughly around 18 lakh crore. It would grow at the rate of 25% CAGR, and whatever it would reach in 2025, we would like to be 1% market share of that. And that roughly comes around to be 20,000 or 22,000 odd crore of outstanding book for Ugro. Yeah, that means that we would be serving our average loan ticket size between 15 lakh to 20 odd lakh, which means we would be serving roughly around 10 lakh plus customers over a period of next 4 years. I think every possible way of serving the need of MSME customer, we have built distribution channel. We have to really deepen and expand that. So, for example, in our branch-led channel, today we are 34. This year we would be 75. In next 3 to 4 years, we would like to, go reach up to the tier 2, tier 3 town and have roughly around 300 physical outposts where we serve the need of the MSME customers. In our ecosystem, in our supply chain, we are deeply digitizing. We are, we are the first platform which has created the entire financing app for GeM. We have gone live on that. We are going to get integrated on TReDS. So large portion of customers who have a working capital gap on supply chain financing, we serve the need of that. We are targeting ourselves to deepen our relationship with multiple manufacturers of machinery, which get consumed in SME and provide financing for machinery. And we would like to continue expanding our partnership. So if you are a fintech, payment platform, small NBFC, we would like to continue and deepen our partnership. And we also want to launch, I think by end of this financial year, we launch our digital channel. Simultaneously, we would like to expand our relationship with more banks And as we have successfully done with Bank of Baroda and what we intend to do with this SBI, we would like to deepen this relationship and collaboration effort between banks and NBFC and create a smooth platform wherein our origination engine always remain funded by the liquidity which is available in the hands of the bank. And we are also simultaneously targeting the global DFIs, multilateral, to provide financing, and we be the bridge to reach the last mile. And that's a continuous effort. I think we are well on path of that. Daily we wake up and continue to do the same job and continuously expanding. And obviously, one of the job is to protect and make sure that whatever we lend in difficult time, we remain careful, we remain cautious, and we select our customer very judiciously.
So, however, we know that MSME lending comes with a multiple risk of governance, compliance, and on how to identify whether their balance sheet or their books are healthy or not. So, how does technology plays an important role, and what are the various initiatives taken by Ugru Capital in order to mitigate these risks?
So that's a very unique question. So I think so, we have to look at MSME financing from the lens of financing a particular need of MSME versus lending to MSME. I'll explain you the differentiation between the two. And I know, one of the things which you would like to, so think of a use case example of GEM, right? GEM is government e-marketplace, wherein roughly around 1,20,000 crore of government-owned entities procurement is happening. 60% of that procurement is happening from SMEs in India. Now think of this as an Indian Railways, which is giving a 5 lakh rupees of order, buying some form of a stationery from an MSME. Now the MSME need to go and procure that stationery from the market, do some kind of a printing and deliver it to Indian Railways. And as soon as that is done, Indian Railways would give money to MSME and the money would come to the lender. Now, given if you go and try analyzing the balance sheet of the MSME, you will never be able to lend. But if you finance this particular transaction, if you can draw comfort that this MSME which has provided the material last 10 times, so 11th time there is no reason why he would not provide the material, and you finance against that particular purchase order, and once he delivers the material to Indian Railways, the money comes back from escrow account to the lender. You have nothing to worry about his balance sheet strength, and that is what is changing the dynamic. Rather than lending to the entity, as more and more the data would come. So GST is a great thing which is happening. So formalization of economy is happening. When e-invoicing would come, every invoice, depending upon who you are selling to, can be financed. There is a TREX platform, there is cash flow based financing. So I think so as you move the financing from entity to transaction, this problem would get solved very, very quickly.
As you have mentioned about GM, which is a government e-marketplace, which has launched Sahay app that you were talking about, and a new initiative which was taken by government in last year in order to help the MSME sector, which is ECLGS, Emergency Credit Line Guarantee Scheme, to help the MSME sector for faster revival. How much do you think it has helped the MSME sector in order to keep them back on track?
So, just give me 1 second. So, if you look at if the emergency credit line would have not come, then the number of MSME who would have died, it would be a number which is incomprehensible. First time in the history of India, the sovereign power, which is the government of India, is stepped up and said that whatever loan a bank or an NBFC give to an MSME customer, 100% guaranteed by the government of India. Because it was an environment in which lenders were worried that whether an MSME would survive or not survive. And that's why this scheme of 3 lakh crore, of which roughly around 2,70,000 crore got consumed, actually helped the MSME to tide through the cash flow mismatch in the first round of the pandemic. Because what the scheme did, it says that if you have a 10 lakh rupees of loan existing, 2 lakh of additional loan you can borrow from a bank, which will give you the capacity to pay for salaries, keep your office running, keep your factory running. And actually that really helped most of the MSME. The only challenge though, that it was presumed that after COVID-1 there will be no COVID-2. So everyone presumed that with this money MSME survival would happen, and after that they will come to a normalcy. But then the COVID-2 happened, and that's why the total available pool which was given to them probably is not now sufficient, because there is a second revival which needs to be done. And there are multiple efforts which are being done in that. What data suggests that even COVID-2 seems to be very intense, but its impact on the economy was not as severe as it was in the first time, because the lockdowns were not that long, or it was not that widespread. So I think so the effect of ECGL, emergency credit line on MSME was very, very positive. In addition to that, the liquidity support and measures which was combined, both RBI and government did, was also very helpful, because the entire NBFC sector, and fintech sector, which was otherwise suffering from liquidity problem, also got solved because of multiple measures which had been taken by the Reserve Bank of India.
So this brings me to the last question. What would be your advice to the young entrepreneurs who are just starting out their career on fintech lending space? Or what are the key skills that would be required?
So I have only one advice. When people think of fintech and young professionals who want to enter into that, I think so they focus on the outcome versus what real impact they are creating. So all of the young generation get very motivated by seeing this very high decibel value creation which is happening for some of the large payment platform and fintech, right? So it is very good to see that there are fintechs which are multiplying in valuation, especially in the payment space, and large VC funds are putting capital. But you should not start a fintech in order to achieve that, which is multiple round of capital and valuation, because that's an outcome. That would happen once your heart and soul is into solving some real problem. Because if you're a combination of anything which is relating to technology is subjected to human mind, and human mind should be directed towards solving that problem. So you should not start a fintech because somebody else in some other market is doing it. You should really think of what is that you will solve and what is the impact you would create. If you have worked on that, rest thing would follow automatically. So majority of the fintech which I see, I cannot understand the difference between the two. So there is a payment solution provider, I'm also a payment solution provider. There is a wealth provider, I'm also a wealth provider. But that doesn't change anything, because don't follow the rat race. Follow something which is really a problem which remains unsolved.
So any key skills for the new students, the young entrepreneurs that they need to acquire?
Persistent and resilience. Being an entrepreneur is a very difficult task. It's not an option. A lot of people think, let's try it out. If it doesn't work, we will do something else. So you cannot be an entrepreneur with that. You have to start with the conviction that you will stay on the course. The life would be very, very difficult. You will have very low moments in that, but you have real conviction and you will persist to succeed. If you don't have that skill set and you're using this as an option vis-a-vis a job, choose a job rather than choosing the life of an entrepreneur.
That should be all. Thank you for being with us. Have a great week ahead.
Thank you.
Thank you.